What is up, everybody? I hope you guys are all enjoying your Monday. This is going to be a little bit of a different animal of a video here. I have a good amount of information to get through, but first and foremost, I will say that this video of Christine Lagarde is not letting me screen share with you guys, so I'm going to play the audio because it's just been released today. And I find it very interesting. And there's kind of this oh shit moment when this interviewer also talks about the balance sheet of the European Central Bank. I really recommend that you guys watch this video. It's not letting me share the actual video, but it is allowing me to share the audio. But not only within these assets being held within these central banking organizations and how drastic kind of the increase of asset purchases and acquisitions have been within these central banks, but delving out into crypto as well. And she talks about crypto investing, saying she's not going to tell people not to invest, but they need to have their eyes like wide open. And she's had some interesting rhetoric and verbiage around that eyes wide open verbiage previously as well. I want to play this audio for you guys, even though the video is not playing. I think it's extremely valuable, and I will post a link for you guys to all watch this video. The digital asset discussions start around 12 or 13 minutes in. The asset acquisitions within or what's being held on these central banking organizations balance sheets discussion starts at around 16 minutes in, I believe. So let me play this and then I'll keep moving forward. Okay, appreciate it. And yeah, apologies again for the video not working.
Entire market in a single day.
That's crazy. Yeah. You said if you want to invest it, it's fine, but it's super risky. Isn't your advice don't do it?
What I say is, number one, those who invest should know. It cannot be this crypto hype where, because a friend of a friend has made X, you think that it's going to work and it's going to continue to increase. It's a super risky asset. My very humble assessment is that it is worth nothing. It's based on nothing. There is no underlying assets to act as an anchor of safety. If the day when we have the central bank digital currency out, any digital euro, I will guarantee. So the central bank will be behind it. And I think that's vastly different from any of those things.
There is this graph about the balance sheet of the European Central Bank and the money that is on there now, and here it is. What I would like to show our viewers and ask the question about is, this is going over 8 trillion euros now. And isn't what you just told us about the cryptocurrencies, don't we see a gigantic bubble here, your balance sheet with the euro? And isn't this graph very nerve-wracking?
Well, I can tell you that there is 0 crypto assets in the balance sheet of the ECB.
That I know.
Point number one. Well, I just don't want any ambiguity about it.
Yeah.
But you have to think in terms of counterfactual. If we had not decided on March 18th, when we put together the pandemic emergency program and then subsequently increased the volume of commitment that we made to the European Union economies, we would be in a devastated situation. So I don't regret any of that move that we took on that day, which was 4 months into my job, to significantly increase the size of the balance sheet, because that's all we had.
Yeah.
Otherwise the economy would have collapsed and it would have been even accelerated by a financial crisis.
You had to do it. It was the COVID crisis. You say that's
yes,
what we needed to do, but how do you get it?
It will
back?
come. It will come. In due course. Yeah.
How?
In due course, it will come.
Yeah?
No,
But do you sleep at night when you see this?
Of course I have to sleep at night. And I have to worry every morning. Yeah.
Okay. Over here.
So, extremely interesting. And again, apologies for not having the video on here. But, talking about the balance sheet within these central banking organizations, it starts getting very worrisome. Darren and myself, if you're not aware, Fame 21 More, Darren Moore Jr. and myself, we do podcasts. We're going to be doing one on Wednesday. We're going to talk about this massive bubble that exists with assets being held within central organizations, central banking organizations across the board here, and what it could look like when they start offloading some of these assets that they've accumulated, very much so. You can look at what happened in 2008, essentially the Fed bailing out the banks during the housing crisis. You can look at what's happened in March of 2020. Essentially, all of the central banking organizations bailing out the entire economy. And you talk about a bubble, and where we're at right now, you can just see here historically. This goes back to 2007, looking at the Fed balance sheet. This goes back to 2000, talking about the European Central Bank's balance sheet. And I mean, it is astronomical at this point in time. To the point now where, you know, if they start selling these things off in an unsustainable way, and I don't know if there's any solution at this point. I mean, we're talking, I was talking to Darren on Twitter today, messaging him back and forth saying that this should be maybe a topic because this is more of his strong suit, looking at what's going on traditionally with inflation and all the different assets that these central banking organizations are holding within their balance sheets, and what happens if they start being sold off. And he basically used the Mad Max the Mad Max kind of framework as far as where we could be heading here. And all right, I'm going to move forward real quick. And we did hear within this discussion here that she talks about, you know, unless you have your eyes wide open. I'll get to that at the very end of this video. I will rush through the rest of this here so you guys can see that. But we see that the French banking giant BNP Paribas joining JP Morgan's Onyx blockchain. China's state-backed blockchain company is set to launch its first major international product as well. I believe this is called Spartan. The Spartan network, and I think it deals in 5 or 6 different public blockchains that don't operate directly with cryptocurrencies. One of those blockchains that this Spartan network is going to be dealing in is a non-crypto version of the Ethereum blockchain. China is certainly making moves. I have to give a gigantic shout out to John Deaton as usual. The dude is such a steward, a great individual, a nice individual, legitimately a transparent and just a honest individual and a good guy. Kind of sticking his neck out there to represent 67,000 XRP holders. This is from Daily Hodl, but essentially, you know, kind of where this stems from, the SEC wanted an expert witness to give testimony about what XRP holders were thinking when they bought XRP. However, John had mentioned yesterday in the link to Twitter Spaces that this expert that the SEC basically is bringing on probably has not ever even reached out to one single solitary XRP holder to determine what the XRP community was thinking when they invested into XRP. So it's nonsensical. John is doing great work for this community, and I have to continuously give this guy a shout out every time that I get the opportunity to. Deaton wants to file a brief Daubert motion related to an expert hired by the SEC to discuss the motives of XRP purchasers. This means that Ripple is trying to strike the witness altogether because his opinion has no reasonable scientific basis. So wouldn't argue with that. World Economic Forum, Brad Garlinghouse sitting there saying that he had met with the SEC several times prior to this lawsuit. We know from being in the XRP community, obviously, that Brad Garlinghouse, David Schwartz, and the special assistant to the president, John Roscoe, at that point in time, met with the SEC chair, Jay Clayton, back in 2018, August of 2018. So certainly not surprising. We know how transparent Ripple has been and their dealings with regulators. And there has just been no guidance. And I think that a lot of that might have to do with the incentives being provided potentially through the ETHgate initiatives that we see. Bitcoin and the US dollar, this is on the monthly chart again. The one caveat I will say, looking at these central bank balance sheets, if they do start selling these off assets they're holding on their balance sheets in an unsustainable way, and I don't even know if they have an option to do it in any sort of a sustainable way, high-risk assets might, you know, go in the shitter. And that's to say that, you know, it'll be really interesting to see what happens with digital assets and crypto in the short term. But for me, you know, based on all the factual things that we consistently present, all of the great researchers out there in this community talking about this new financial system, a parallel financial system to an extent, but even last week we saw Bank for International Settlements saying parallel system doesn't even make sense. There has to be interoperability. We know this new system is being built out on the rails of distributed ledger technology and blockchain. So I certainly believe that regardless of what happens in the economy, this is going to be the path forward. It's the only path forward, really. It might be the only option. But that does not negate the fact that if they start doing things in traditional markets that usually screw with higher risk assets, crypto might be affected in the short term. An event brief through Quant CBDC Leaders Panel. How much global coordination are we seeing? Gilbert Verdian, etc., etc. If you guys are interested in this, check this out. It's on their Twitter. And then we see GameStop as well having its own wallet for crypto and NFTs. This is dealing in Ethereum wallet that they've built out for their upcoming NFT marketplace. It deals in storing, sending and receiving cryptocurrency and NFTs. We still see narratives coming out of Forbes about how Web3, digital assets, DLT, blockchain might revolutionize healthcare. That's certainly coming. We see patents out of Visa as recent as April 28th talking about a blockchain system for confidential and anonymous smart contracts, talking about this Zether initiative, and certainly dealing in Ripple as well, Ethereum, Ripple, EOS, Stellar, etc. for adoption. So very interesting. And last but not least, this is this winds of change, the case for a new digital currency. Remember the very beginning when I played this audio for you, Christine Lagarde, and if you watch the video, she makes the eyes wide open type symbol. This is a winds of change, a case for a new digital currency from November 14th, 2018. This is coming out of the IMF when she was still the head of the IMF, and I will read the conclusion within this and let you guys go. Let me conclude. I have tried to evaluate the case this morning for digital currency. The case is based on new and evolving requirements for money, as well as essential public policy objectives. My message is that while the case for digital currency is not universal, we should investigate it further. Again, 2018. Seriously, carefully, and creatively. More fundamentally, the case is about change, being open to change, embracing change, and shaping change. Technology will change, and so must we. Lest we remain the last leaf on a dead branch. Lest we remain the last leaf on a dead branch, the others having decided to fly with the wind. In the world of fintech, we need to harness change so it is fair, safe, efficient, and dynamic. That was the goal of the Bali FinTech Agenda launched by the IMF and World Bank last October. When the winds of change pick back up, what will guide us in our journey? The captains sailing through the Straits of Singapore followed the North Star. And today, question mark, tomorrow, question mark. I suggest we follow a girl, a young girl, a fearless girl. If you are lucky, you might be able to meet her in person in New York's financial district. She is bold, she is brave, she is confident, she faces forward towards the future with grit and determination. A future she herself is going to shape, with eyes wide open, eagerly, steadily. I hear her say, "Let us sail ahead. I am not afraid, I am not afraid." Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will talk to you when I talk to you.